Coach, with moving day just a couple days away, how's your feelings going into this season?
Well, I think this season is probably a little bit different than any other season from the standpoint of the amount of guys we had in Mitchell all summer. It's something we've been pushing for, something we really wanted, and now having guys here for literally 2.5 months, and working out every day, and having a bunch of new freshmen that haven't even practiced for us, haven't even put a helmet on for us, and they've gone through workouts with our guys, for the last 2 months is a huge deal. So that type of anticipation is what we're looking forward to. Now it's a matter of how do guys fit into our schemes, how do our returning guys perfect what we need them to do, and that's really our challenge in the first couple weeks of fall camp is getting new guys acclimating and fine-tuning some things for our older guys.
Has that been a change in the culture of Dakota Wesleyan football, especially with that graduating class that you had last year, them wanting to stay on campus after the season?
Yeah, I think that the graduating class deserves a lot of credit for really everything that we're trying to do, and now it's this senior class's opportunity to kind of carry that torch, and I think they've done a good job with their first test, if you want to call it, with the summer, having guys here, getting guys here, relaying the importance of that message, and now we get to be on the field with this team and what they look like and how they handle the adversity that we're going to put them in, but also the adversity they're going to face on the field.
What are some of the strengths you think this team is going to have this year with the returning group that you do have?
Yeah, strengths I think is something that they've kind of had to learn some things the hard way. We've been able to experience some things, especially last year winning the Northwestern game. Our senior class never beating Northwestern and being able to get over that hurdle, and then also losing a tough game down at Dome, and a game that we were playing pretty well in, and kind of let ourselves get the best of us. So I think the maturity and being able to have some of those experiences, positively and negatively, are hopefully going to give the direction for this group.
We're going to be some of the leaders on this team now that you've lost somebody like a Brady Ponte. Who do you think is going to step up and kind of fill that role?
I think defensively, the first guy you look at is an Adam Warner, Brady Mutter, Cody Bonte. Each guy at a different spot on the defense, but those guys have been 3- and 4-year starters. They've always been a part of the last 3 or 4 years and the success or downfalls maybe that we've had, but those guys are really the guys defensively. Offensively, having your quarterback back in Dylan Turner, another guy, Damon McCleary on the offensive line, Dustin Livingston, Hayden Adams, Johnny Fabrizius, those types of guys, they've kind of been through a lot of stuff. Like I said, positively, negatively, and those are guys that are going to have to, get some of those young guys on the same page, but also, hey, everything's going to be all right, let's stay on course and get those guys calmed down when we need it.
Talk about the evolution of Dylan Turner a little bit, where he went from his freshman year to his sophomore. What do you expect out of him as a junior?
Yeah, when you look at Dylan from a freshman to sophomore, it's hard to compare, in terms of just strictly numbers and the improvement that he's made. But now he's getting to the point where he understands the offense, understands his reads. There's always fine-tuning that has to happen with every player, but now it's more of a, be the guy on offense that guys are looking at, and I don't think he's ever shied away from that, but we've never really put that on him in a specific role. He's still just getting into being an upperclassman, as a junior, and now you have to be the guy that people are looking at. You have to welcome that role, and whether you like it or not at the quarterback position, that's what you have to be, and I think that's something he's okay with doing.
It's going to be the third straight year he's kind of had to see some new faces on his offensive line. What are you expecting out of that position group, and who do you see stepping up to be a leader with the offensive line?
Yeah, that's offensive line is so critical, and fortunately we do have some guys that have started some games. Damon McCleary is a guy that has started for his freshman and sophomore year. Zach Doohan stepped in last year and started some games. Trevor Wheatsman, again, another true freshman that played. So we're going to be young up front, and add a Levi Roseboom in there that transferred in, that's done a great job with our guys. So I think the talent and the quality of guys we have up front, we're really pleased with. It's a matter of those guys getting comfortable with each other. It's really going to be the main thing. Dylan getting comfortable with the communication with those guys and getting a feel for what those guys look like is going to be something we'll have to focus on in fall camp.
Last year you kind of had a revolving door in the backfield as far as your running backs goes, lots of injuries at that position, but you do have quite a bit of depth coming in this year, especially with your red shirts from last year. Who do you see kind of breaking away from that group, or do you see it more as a committee?
Yeah, ideally we want to have that one guy, and we want to have the guy that we can put on their shoulders and, fortunately for us, we have a lot of guys that are probably capable of doing that. Obviously, Johnny Fabrizius is the most experienced guy at that spot. You add a Gage Marshall and a Johnny Withrow who played as true freshmen, but then you got guys, Luke Loudberg, Mitch Johnson, Ethan Galkey that are all redshirt guys that have been in our system. So, and then a handful of freshman guys that are just talented kids. So that's going to be an interesting battle all fall camp. I think Johnny's probably got the head up just because in terms of experience, but what all those other guys bring to the table, it's going to be hard to keep them off the field.
One position group you do have a lot of experience on offense is your wide receiver, especially with Hayden Adams, all the success he had last year, Dustin Livingston. Talk a little about what they're going to bring to the table and how much do you see them having an impact this year?
Well, I think the emergence, I guess if I can call it that, of Hayden Adams. As a true freshman, got on the field a little bit, but now as a sophomore, kind of has a breakout season. You match that with what Dustin Livingston can do on the outside, on the opposite side of the field, and Cody Larson, Lewis Hofer, kind of run that interior. Those guys take a lot of pressure off of your running backs, but I think they also take a lot of pressure off the offensive line. In terms of being able to get the ball out quick to those guys, let them make a play, get our offensive line on a rhythm, especially early in the season is going to be critical. But it's really going to be fun to watch our offense and the weapons that we feel like we have and what they do with the ball in their hands.
On the defensive side, obviously you're replacing guys like Brady Bonte, several holes in the secondary that are from graduating players. What are you expecting out of those position groups as well?
Yeah, defensive line, it all starts with, Brady Mutter, Cole Ratterman, but we've always been a group, defensive line-wise, we're going to play 8-9 guys. We probably have some true freshman kids that come in, and whether it's for a series or a specialized role, we're going to have those guys in that spot. Linebacker-wise, again, Adam Borman's the guy. Dylan Rourke's the guy that's really had a nice spring and played really well as a true freshman. Sam Nas is another guy on the outside. Nathan Dahl, really kind of flew under the radar last year. Now, as a fifth-year senior, another guy that's got a lot of experience. But again, we got some freshman linebackers coming up. True freshman kids that can, be some of those rotation guys. DB-wise, I think it's going to be a question mark for us, not because of the talent that we have, but it's a matter of who our guys are going to be. Charlie LaRoche is the guy that started last year at safety. Cody Bonte is another guy. The other corner spot, a guy, Matt Jensen, redshirted as a junior because of the transfer rules. He has one season left, and the kid, he's worked his butt off. He played on the scout team all fall. As an upperclassman, that's hard to do, and he did it because he wanted to play his senior year. So you got to respect what he's been able to bring to the table. Again, another transfer, Hunter Young from USD, traded Crook at the safety spot. Tyrell Haley had a nice spring as a true freshman. So I don't think right now fortunately for us DB-wise, we're able to get some different guys on the field, different packages, and that's what we're going to have to do, and fortunately that's what we like to do anyway. So we're going to get a lot of guys in positions to make plays.
For the first time in 4 years, you're going to have to find a new punter and a new kicker. How's that position battle shaking out in your mind?
It's been really good. Chase Murphy and Enrique Cajero, two redshirt guys for us that really got a chance to learn a lot from Daniel Porter. Ideally, we'll probably have one of those guys kick, one of those guys punt. Still trying to work on those things. Gus Haskell's another guy that's has been a kicker for us in the past, kind of transitioning that wide receiver role. But another guy that kicked in games, has some experience. So I think we won't have one guy doing both. At times that's a positive, at times that's a negative. But two young guys that we're going to throw out there, and they've deserved an opportunity to play, and they've done a lot of work to be in that position, and they're ready for that.
30 wins over 4 years, the most in Dakota Wesleyan over 100-year history. What can you say about the teams that have come before in your tenure and what they've built for this team this year?
Well, I think that's really our message to guys is what do you want to be a part of while you're here? We're extremely proud of what we've been able to accomplish in 4 years, but that can't define who we are right now. I mean, we want to think that there's more to come, and that's what our senior class, they want to go out as the winningest class or accomplish something that hasn't been accomplished. And for those young guys on the team, when they get to that point, where are they at? And it's really trying to instill that mindset of coming here to accomplish something that is different. Set yourself apart, leave a legacy, and that's hard to do. But fortunately, we've got a pretty good foundation to build on.
All right. Thank you, Coach.